morning, afternoon, good evening, good day, good night to you, whenever or wherever you're watching this at. This is going to be the next edition of what was going to be this past weekend's album reviews. I got a tear in my left shoulder here. That's what I think it is. Pain's been going down, but yeah, that's why I'm delayed on it this week, because I had a self-injury. Friday I went to the urgent care. They said they gave me some Latticade patches, some medicine, some muscle relaxers, which have been, they fucking hit. I'm only taking them at night right now, so I won't be drowsy driving around during the day. So I'm the main driver in my household. Our gay little drink of the day is green tea with peach syrup from Scooter's peach smoothie line. They had just this peach syrup line around, and I asked them for peach smoothie, and they even stick it for tea, but then they said they could do that for me, so I was like, oh shit, okay, I'll take it. Today's album we're going into is going to be Yves Tumor, spelled Yvestumor. Praise the Lord who chews but does not swallow, or simply Between Worlds, I believe is what the subtitle is. I remember the longer title because it's so fucking obnoxious. In a good way. I like longer, weirder titles and album covers. I will still, eventually on this channel, will eventually get to my favorite album covers of all time and discussing them. I follow a channel currently that covers like controversial album covers. I'd love to like pick a, let me know what you would like on that. Like, would you rather have controversial album covers or like my favorite like pretty aesthetic, cool or unusual album covers? Out of those two, like which would you, or I could just group them all into one bigger series. Well, let me know in the comments what you think. But yeah, Yves Tumor is a non-binary artist I've been following for years. Another one in the line of like Jasmine Bean, as like some of my favorite ongoing non-binary artists. I think I followed them since 2019, actually it was the beginning of COVID, so 2020. From 2020 to now, so about 4 years, I've been following all the singles, all the EPs, the projects, and albums in between. I finally took a lot of notes for this one because I have this album came out in 2023. It ended up being my top 10 in 2023. I think in the top 5. It got really close to the top. It was, if it wasn't the top 5, it was really close, of 2023. And I followed all the singles leading up to this, so I had a lot to say about it. So this might be one of the longer videos on the channel. We're gonna start with one of the first singles, "God Is a Circle," that dropped for the album. My main notes on this song was the lead single. Opener starts with a very dense, heavy scream at the beginning, which leads into this driving bass guitar beat, which I love. That's one thing that comes up across this album multiple times, is like the bass guitar, the electric guitar, the production quality, the drums. Like, this album feels so full on each song. It really sets a tone, sets a mood. A more down-tempo, vibey mood. There's not a lot of points in this album that like pick up heavy, but when they do, they crunch in with the guitars and they really hit. Ominous introspective lyrics, electric guitar shreds throughout. Yeah. Lyrically, nothing really popped to me on this one that I quoted. I did quote a few things here in between the later songs, but I think it's also because I've listened to the song so many times now. It only came out like either in 2022 or early 2023, but I listen to it religiously now. I think I've listened to it like at least this album in total at least over 5 to 10 times at this point. I love it. I got it framed in my wall at home. Lovely Sewer is next. Another single. Love the feminine vocalist. Good vibe. My favorite song so far out of the first two. I think I still stand by that. This one, just saying the name of it. I love when songs do this, where like they have such a unique sound and vibe and tone to them that it really sticks with me. Even just saying the name of it or looking at the name of it. Like, I can look at this one and off the top of my head think of Lovely Sewer, Casualty Free. Like, just the tone of how the song goes. And I love when songs can do that for me, where I hear them the first or second time and I'm like, wow, I know what this song sounds like, and I know the theme and vibe and just what this is going for. I like going into a song like in revisits and being like, I know what it's going for. Now I'm just kicking in the weeds. Now I'm just like digging out the lyrics, I'm digging out the vibes, what genre I'd put this under, things like that. Next we get Meteor Blues for the third song. And I would say this one's like continuation of a song they had on an earlier album. I think it was Meteor Lights or something like that, theme-wise. I love how full it sounds with the guitar. There's another kind of commentary here on how full the production makes this album. I think this is one thing, like being a big production head, all of Yves Tumor's music is really, really focused and honed in with the production. It's so good. It's so clean cut and it's mastered beautifully. I love a full songs with guitar, especially, and the content with my first quote in this album so far. I always pray to an empty sky, and a drum run at the end. I always forget the drums really hit in on this band too. Like it had a little good drum breakdown at the very end there. The I always pray to an empty sky line stood out to me, being like growing up in a very religious environment in Alabama. To be at church every Sunday, Wednesday, sometimes Fridays too, 3 times a week. 3 out of 7 days of my week. It's fucking exhausting, dog. It's the reason why I don't go to church even anymore, for many reasons. But yeah, but that theme of like the religious commentary theme does come up multiple times, not just in this album, but like in their other music as well. And I think it, like, especially for queer people, that stands really significant to me. It's like, I feel like a lot of queer kids and families, queer kids or adults now, people could still consider me in my 20s to be a kid, so I say that. Queer teens, young adults, or kids end up having like at least one religious family member, if not their whole household religious. So even when we make music, like, it's kind of hard to disconnect that religion is a part of my life in some way, because like some of my earliest experience with music at all is like choir music, like listening and learning the like bits of the piano from people I would meet at church, learning how to vocalize through other choir singers growing up. Sometimes like playing the drums and in my younger life would only come from like using the drum set at my local church, and they were free to let me try and like give me runs, and like I'll play when I first played trumpet and bass drum and things like that, giving me a platform to like perform in front of people and break that nervousness of performing for people, which I haven't performed for anyone in a long time outside of a keyboard for my fiance, but it really helps to get back in the groove, and I think an early step in my life for like getting over that hump of performing for people, because all music is performative for both the creator and the audience. It just depends on, like, say, I think of it the same way when I write poetry, where like I don't ever imagine myself reading out poetry, but any time in the future in the case where I'd be faced with that, I feel like I'm ready for that, because I let my family members read over my poetry and things like that. But just like when I make music, I have a different feeling about making the music or making the poetry than I do with somebody else hearing the poetry or hearing the music or reading the poetry or looking, like, reviewing the music. Like, I feel like the interpretations, like, there's no way they could hit the same feeling I had when I made it. And I think about that a lot when I digest music or poetry or art, or any art in that way. Like, I'm currently being the audience, and being at one point the creator and the audience. You come into it with different mindsets. Right after Meteor Blues, we get an interlude. It's a pretty short interlude, pretty cute, very peaceful, leads into my personal favorite song on the album, which is Parody. This is what kind of got me thinking to finally do a review of this album, because I was playing it in the car riding over to work recently, to take my notes in the review, and my fiance said, "Damn, I feel like I heard this song a lot." And I was like, "Yeah, you heard it through me." And she's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Also, like, my algorithm keeps pushing it, but every time it pushes it, I don't skip it." And there's a good reason for that. I think this is probably the one I've unpackaged the most on this album. What I mean by that is, like, theme-wise, production-wise, lyrically. I feel like I understand this song the most so far. Maybe this one and Lovely Sewer I get the most. I have some really big comments for a later song, but this one really connected with me in a certain level about, like, being hyper online, whether through Twitter or Tumblr or Instagram or YouTube. I digest a lot of YouTube. This is my first year kind of going to the foyer of making YouTube videos, just putting them out there to see if people like them. You know, if they don't, then I like them. You know, I'm proud of what I made so far. I haven't been discouraged to quit based on what I made, and it's actually honestly made me really happy that, like, even if a few people in the comments, like less than 5 people so far comment, I appreciate the engagement, and I've already learned of some new albums and projects that I've never heard of this year, like Cosmo Sheldrake, through some comments that I would never let's do otherwise, but it's currently one of, like, my top 20 albums of the year. Their albums really sticks with me in a weird, specific way that only that album could. So I really appreciate that. But parody. Back to the song hand. Parody is another single. It's commentary on fame. Gorgeous song. The build up, love the build up, love the ending. It kind of slows down. The guitar solo builds back up and kind of brings it all back together. And this is another one I can look at the song name and immediately think about what makes it stick out so much for me. Send your face on a name on a postcard, parody of a pop star. You behave like a monster. Like, it's just the parody of like it kind of makes me think a lot about how the fake it until you make it mentality of like, a lot of people, especially nowadays, want to be influencers, want to be an identity online. So you kind of have to parody the identity you already know online that exists and works to eventually make it to that. And I feel like currently through my content, like, I may mirror some ways of approaching music review that I've seen online for years. Like, since I was like 15, 16, I followed a lot of online community for music, because especially for some weirder shit I'm into, like, not a lot of people I know in real life liked it, and my fiance, like, will get into most of the music I like, but not all of it, and that's okay. You know, you never fully align with somebody on everything, and that's okay. You learn to appreciate the things you both align with, and then I feel like a good lover and a good life partner will challenge you on things, and will constantly challenge you on things. That shouldn't be discouraging. That should be something that's healthy. But this was one where she's like, this felt like it's getting a little overplayed for her, but I still am not gotten sick of this song. It's so beautiful, and I feel like it really mirrors the current perspective, I feel at least, of like a lot of people online parroting other social influencers or artists or writers or anything that they see, to fake it till they make it. But you have to parody in a way where it's authentic to you, otherwise it just feels fully inauthentic. So there's such a line we all toe of like, coming across real, but also what everybody already likes, like authentic, but like in a way where it doesn't feel like it's too authentic, and you cut out too many people from your audience. I'll make it clear up front that one thing I want to focus on on this channel going forward, and I think I've said it before, but I'll say it again, is that I was watching Dead End Hip Hop, and Mike Seatown mentions, I think it was him or one of the other members, mentions that they started their roundtable talks in their channel because they really felt like they were covering things that nobody else was covering in hip hop, and like things they really loved or underground stuff. And something I want to cover here more, and I'm going to continue to cover more, is more queer artists, more non-binary artists, more gender fluid artists, more just like trans femme, trans masks artists, just more queer artists in general, because it's something I feel like in the music community, especially online, I just don't see as paid attention to and as covered. And it's something that really resonates with me because, like, especially for the non-binary artists like this, but just to queer artists in general, like, it discourages me to see so many music reviewers out there not covering the queer artists we have out. Like, there's so many gay artists out. Like, one of the bigger ones, like Kevin Abstract, or Lil Nas X, like, he's getting a lot of traction, but he's getting a lot of traction for working with straight people, not because he's just the gay artist that he is. I feel like a lot of people know him from, like, Industry Baby, but that's, like, in Lil Nas X and Jack Harlow. Like, it was kind of amazing to me when he really blew up off of Old Town Road, just him, and then the traction held on to that by getting other artists on it. But that's not to discourage his talent. He's an amazing artist. So I want to make that clear. The next song cuts into Heaven Surrounds Us Like a Hood. Fire name. I love this name. Just like with the album title, Praise the Lord who chooses, but praise a Lord who chews but does not swallow. I feel like the album title, I'll go and step back a little bit. What it means to me is like, praise the Lord who chews. Okay, so he puts us through the ringer. He like punishes us. He puts us through trials in our life, but does not swallow. Never fully finishes us off, but puts us back out into the world and lets us know that you've been through this hardship, you've been through this pain, but you made it. You went through the pain and you succeeded in making it past it. And it also kind of brings in mind the mythology of Sisyphus and the boulder, of being like, I feel like a lot of people come to the conclusion of like, he's going to be pushing the boulder forever, so at some point you have to enjoy this. You have to enjoy parts of what you can. You have to enjoy parts of the task you're given. Otherwise, you'll never enjoy anything. So this gives us, in a way, of like, my parallel here being like, the title's like, yes, He punishes us by chewing, but he does not swallow, never finishes us off. I mean, even when we die, our nutrients are given back to the planet, and that fulfills the life cycle of giving back to the planet. And I feel like that's a beautiful thing in itself. Even dying, some people are really scared of dying. It's natural to be scared of dying. I'm scared of dying, at least in a small way. But I think it gives me a big bit of peace in my heart to know that life force will eventually go back to the planet and eventually give back and give full circle. Let's go back to the song though. Heaven Surrounds Us Like a Hood. Amazing title. Fire name. It's one of the singles again. So it's 3 singles so far. It's a pretty message. It's so lovely. It begins with a little kid, which kind of intersects in multiple points in the song. I think 2 or 3 points in the song he intersects and talks. It's a little kid saying, "Well, if you die, it's okay. You can just restart," which is such an interesting kind of comment to be like, especially young men, but many girls and queers especially. The video games are way more prominent in our adult lives, like around us, like ads for like video games at this point in our lives are kind of like mini movies, if they're not set in like the 2D throwback setting or things like that. And a lot of video games you can die and reset, and I can see the parallel of this kid here being like, the kid's like, well, it's okay, if you die you can just restart. Well, that's not how actual life is. If you die you can't restart. I mean, there's also you can bring the thought, the images of like rebirth, or like the life cycle of like being born again, but I mean that's not a full one either. It's like a full comparison either. So let's see. This world is so ugly when life makes a fool of us. Yeah, that's another line that really stood out to me. Sorry, I'm starting a little bit today. Somebody just pulled up behind me, so I'm gonna move. But yeah, this world is so ugly when life makes a fool of us. That stands out to me in a way of being like, life makes a fool of all of us at some point, and shit can be hard, but we gotta get back up and keep pressing on. Otherwise, life will leave us behind. I feel like life is too fast sometimes, and this is just one of the days where I'm trying to slow down, give you the review that I really wanted to. Not just for you, but for me. These reviews have really been a good way to like really dump and talk about these albums I really love and get it out in a way that's healthy for me. So I really appreciate that other people are liking that, and I'm really appreciating that. The love you're sending my way on these. I got a lot of views on the Mother one around, about 50 views, and that's more than I thought starting out with this. I thought it was gonna take me forever to get like 10, so thanks. Some key lines at the end of the song of Heaven Surrounds Like a Hood. Sweet boy, you look like your mother. Sweet girl, you look like your father. Yeah, so that's one line that kind of resonates with me. It's like growing up non-binary. Like I wore heels when I was very young, instinctively just being like, I like these, and my parents trying to suppress it down in a way. I got told many times in my life growing up that you look just like your mother. Like if you had ponytails, you look just like your mother. Any chance I could growing up, I took to have my friends jokingly, like my female friends, like paint my nails or do my hair up. When my school offered like this in Alabama, they offered up like this joke like prom pageant of like the male prom pageant where they put the guys in dresses. I was one of the first ones up. And this just kind of harkens back to my childhood every time I hear this, like lines like this in the song, where I'm like, damn, yeah, I mean, it's interesting as a trans kid to trans adult now, thinking like, being told so many times you look like your mother, and that hit in such a way in my heart that I really needed at the time. That especially in Alabama, you don't get a lot of gender affirming things. You kind of just told, you are boy, you are girl, that is it. Even if you're openly lesbian or bisexual or gay, just the more simple aspects of gayness will get you very much chastised, even openly. Being non-binary really resonates with this type of content in this song, yeah. So I think my top 2 songs so far would be Lovely Sewer and Heaven Surrounds Us Like a Hood. Going on, Operator is one that grew to be a personal favorite, even though I didn't really get it as much so far in the first few listens. I think I understand it more now. Still not full. I still haven't cracked this egg fully yet. Here's my notes. I like this one too. goddamn. Not a fault to me on this track list. Maybe interlude remove, but with the lead in, it's with the lead in into parody, I like it. This one is just such a vibe. Sparse lyrics, hard to format as a message or a story to me, but good vibe. Some of my quotes from this one. Hello, it's the operator. Is this the helpline for new married couples? And I was like, this is when I tuned in, I was like, wait, what's the song about? I was like, maybe about a couple. Hello, are you my Lord and Savior? I need a reason to believe, which follows back up on the religious commentary from earlier. Love the ending on which, like a minute to the end of the song, we get the female vocalist coming in the background like, be aggressive, be aggressive, and then it chants our way out as the instrumental starts winding down. The chant just keeps getting heavier and heavier, and then the song cuts off. I love me some cheer chants. Growing up playing trumpet and bass drum for football games in my local high school and running competitions, like I got to hear a lot of cheerleader chants and color guard chants, and it's very nostalgic for me. I think it's even though they're simple, they fit so well in certain moods, and especially for a more upbeat guitar heavy one like this one, it really drove the song along. Next is In Spite of War. I will say the last last 5 songs are the ones I feel like I haven't cracked the most. Also because sometimes I'll start the album, make it halfway through, and then I get busy, like I'm driving and I get cutting off the album, and then, or like I'm taking a shower, I finish my shower before the album finishes, things like that. But hey, you know, the album's out now, the public has access to it. I'll have many years to dissect this album, and I'll eventually kind of fully get each one. But for now, I would say I feel like I 70% understand the messaging of this album, and that's okay. You know, we don't always have to have all the answers in concrete. Sometimes the interpretations of the audience and the speculation makes for a better environment for the audience than if the artist just straight up said, this is what I meant by this song, this is what I meant by this song, this is what I meant by this song. In Spite of War, my notes on it. Production on this whole album is stellar. It's so catchy. The chorus in this one, I hum a lot. I just want to know you'll be my... Oh yeah. I just wanna know, will you be by my side, dressed in the devil's clothes? I know that angels lie too. So the way this lines out is like, I know side and lie. It's interesting to end it with angels lie too, but the way it flows together just is so beautiful in the album. I know I'm not the perfect singing voice, but I hope that gets across of like the style of how it's delivered in the album. But yeah, I end up humming this one a lot while I'm just walking around, and I'll end up forgetting what song it is, and I'm like, oh yeah, I really like the chorus in this one. Echolalia. This title I knew about, and I've heard come up more and more kind of predominant. It's come up more predominantly in modern conversations I have with friends in the past like 2 to 4 years. Echolalia is the term for when you needlessly repeat something back to somebody or to yourself because you heard it, like repeating back sounds, repeating back a phrase to a friend or a loved one, and it's the habit of repeating it back but not knowing why you did it, or just instinctively having to, like, feeling you have to do it. It can be a condition for some people that can't really break it, but I feel like people like me and like my fiance, and like if you know somebody well enough, like you'll both enact echolalia with each other, just repeating the things back to each other in an endearing, loving way too as well, to be like just any like jokes or things like that. Like you deliver a joke, you repeat the joke back to them, and repeating it back and be like the confirmation of like, 1, I heard you, and 2, like I like that. So that kind of comes across in that way. And it's interesting to name a song this, because I imagine like performing this live, like the audience is repeating back the lyrics and the tone of the song to the band, so it's the echolalia of each other to keep repeating it back to each other. Yeah, the term of unnecessary repetition of words or sounds. I do this a lot with my fiance, and it works for such a catchy album to sing along to and have a song title like this. My quotes in this one: I looked up, she looked like a god. More religious themes, really fleshing out words into sounds on the song, which I love. There's a at this point kind of older song by The Voids called All Words Are Meaningless. Words spelled W-O-R-D-Z, W-O-R-D-Z. And it kind of covers how funky language can sound, the words in that one as well just at some point kind of become sound. The mix is like so compressed and like all together, where the vocals are kind of back and the instrumentals are in the front, which sometimes I don't like, but for themes like this I love, of like in Echolalia too, both these songs mirror each other in a way where like the lyrics to the songs and this album in total can sometimes just become sounds, like you're not really understanding fully what the speaker is saying or the singer is saying, either singer is saying, and that's okay, because if the vibe's good enough, fuck it, you know, it's just vibing. I listen to this album a lot now, so like kind of going through that, like I can process it a little more. This is probably one of the more mellow ones in the album so far, and I would definitely say my current favorites are Lovely Sewer, Parody, Heaven Rounds Like a Hood, Operator, and Echolalia. So 5 top ones. Then the last 3 don't really have as many notes on these. It starts winding down a little bit, but that's okay. I feel like I'll get to Ebony Eye. Ebony Eye might be the finale. Might be also one of my 6th favorite one. It's such a beautiful outro. I couldn't imagine it being different after hearing this. But the next song after Echolalia is Fear Evil Like Fire. The boy you are today ain't from a lack of pain is my first note I have on here as a quote. That really hit me. I'm like, damn. Yeah, like we go through pain, and it may change us, it may affect us, it may stack onto our lives, but sometimes it can help us. We can't, like people say the pain makes you better, things like that. Like, oh, you gotta rough through it and then, you know, make you come out a better person on the other side. That's not always true. Sometimes you go through pain that does hurt you and stings you, and you need help with, you need therapy with, you need to talk to family members, you need to address it, and that's okay. It's a spectrum on both sides, you know. Some things are difficult, but you make it through them. Some things are difficult and hurt you, but like you can eventually make it through them. It just takes time. I'm not going to go into this like type of review saying that all pain is helpful. No, it's not. You know, sometimes pain is just pain, and that fucking sucks. It fucking sucks that life is like that sometimes. But if you're here watching this and you endured past that pain, then I'm proud of you. I love you and I respect you, and I hope you're doing great now. Our next, I didn't finish my notes on Fear Evil Like Fire. I got sidetracked on my tangents again. I said damn after that quote. More mellow, winding down to the album. Still a steady groove to all this album. Smooth listen through. That's one thing I do enjoy about some album like ride throughs. You can make an album hour and a half long, even 2 hours long, but like if you don't have smooth transitions, if you have like a bunch of skits, like that's gonna hold me up from finishing your album in one listen. A confession about like the Cosmo Mandrake album I reviewed on this channel was it took me 2 sit downs to listen to it, only because it was so different from what I currently listen to. I made it to the first like 5 or 7 songs, took a break and said, okay, I'm clearly not in the right mindset to address this album. I'm gonna re-listen to it, start from where I stopped at, and then loop it back around so I can like wait till I'm in the type of mood to fully like appreciate something like this. Because there are albums like that. There's every album isn't meant to be listened to all the time. Albums have their own moods, songs have their own moods, people have moods that constantly change. And if you're in a certain kind of mood that just doesn't fit the music you're listening to, and you feel like you want to give it more attention, especially like newer music, take a break. Just take a pause, leave it where you're at, be like, okay, I addressed that this isn't the right time for this, I'll come back. And coming back with a clear head honestly made that listen a lot better. Next up, we have Purified by Fire. Outside of the interlude, it's the only instrumental song on the album. Has a great beat, love the guitar, love the drum. The production really shines on this one. I feel like without the little tidbits of the production where it kind of spasms in and like hits in between the drum and guitar notes, it would really kind of throw it off. It would be a little too dry. I'm glad the production really went in there. Whoever does the production on the albums, I need to look that up later, really made it pop and shine on this one. It was amazing. Amazing for an instrumental track. I'm not always the type of big instrumental head. I do like albums that have like a cross of instrumental and like singing songs or rapping songs. A good example of this for me would be Kim Petras' Turn Off the Lights. It interjects with like singing, instrumental, singing, instrumental, and it stacks the album list like that. So you'll get songs like Knives, where it just sounds like knives being scraped across metal or the floor, but it's such a spooky, weird beat that it really fits. The last song, Ebony Eye, is probably my number 6 out of my top 6 favorite off the album. I know there's only like 13, but it's a really damn good album. It's really hopeful, uplifting, a beautiful wrap up to all this. I love the group vocals. Feels so grand by the end. Just off the top of my head, it's another one I can look at and think about the rhythm of it. Ebony Eye. It's a very beautiful song. Very uplifting and hopeful. Just gives off so much love. I feel like the group vocals also add to that, of being like having a group together, having all these people together to sing about, like, I feel like the themes of this one I've unpacked so far come up about, like, the title, Ebony Eye. Like, I looked in her ebony eyes. I'm trying to think over, but I'll be honest, like, off the top of my head, I can't really dissect the main plot of this song. My main thoughts on it is it's beautiful. Sends it off on kind of a gospel choir, like, twist of, like, what sounds like a bit like church music, but, like, embracing, like, the weirdness of how the rest of this album was. Because this album does get weird in a few bits. It's not, I would say alt pop would be, alt indie pop rock would be my main descriptors for genre for this album. That's how I would describe it. Yeah. That's all my notes I have for this album. So, Yves Tumor, Praise the Lord who chews but does not swallow. I give it a 10 out of 10. It's an amazing album to me. Beautiful. I'll start trying to drop more, like, number rankings if you guys want that. I teeter back and forth through it because, like, it's hard to quantify how you feel about music or art sometimes. Like, sometimes it hits a certain emotion. Like, there's some days I'll listen to parody and I'll just cry because I'm like, it's not that I'm sad, it's just this song's so fucking good. Or Heaven Surrounds Like a Hood. It's just I'm like this song's just so fucking good. I have no other emotion for it. So that's kind of my main thoughts on the album so far. I mean, I've only sat with it for maybe 6 to 8 months or so because it came out the middle of last year. But it really heavily impacted me, and I've had it on repeat, constant repeat since. I'm looking forward to listening to it more. By Friday or Saturday, I should have the next review up. This one's probably going to be posted today on Tuesday, May the